Hey gents, in this video, we'll discuss why she never initiates phone calls or texts. In a relationship where you are dating someone, it is common for the other person to stop initiating phone conversations and texts slowly. This can be difficult to notice, as it happens gradually and subtly. It's important to be proactive when contacting a woman you're interested in. For example, if you go out on a date, you should call her soon afterward to set up another date. If you find yourself regularly calling her, or initiating contact in other ways, don't worry. It just means you're putting in the work. And usually, if you're putting in the work, she's already interested in you. After the date is over, let her take the lead in terms of communicating with you. If you keep calling her after the date is over, that's a problem. There are two reasons why she may not initiate phone calls and texts. First, she uses an old-fashioned approach to women's instructions. Women feel like, in this day and age, it's more traditional for the man to make the first move. But with all our knowledge, that approach doesn't hold up. Plus, new technology has changed a lot of things. Even if a woman has a structured way of doing things, she might not call him first because she feels it's the man's job to make that first move. Initially, it's generally supposed to be the guy who makes the first move, yes. As I said, if it's in the beginning stages of getting to know someone to set up a date, that must be the guy. But after that, it depends. Absolutely. Okay. So then, once you're dating, it's equal footing, but women often don't see it that way. Why? Mainly because they say the guy shouldn't chase them. If he does, she feels like she gets to choose whether or not to go out with him. And she's more likely to say yes if he calls first and asks her. But even though she's going out with him for her reasons, usually because she enjoys his company, that doesn't mean she doesn't want equality. Many women want guys to be more consistent nowadays, which can sometimes be a problem for guys who don't know what they want. On one hand, she might pull some strings to try and get what she wants, but that doesn't mean she's doing it because he's structured. So why does she still act this way? If she didn't have these boundaries, guys might take advantage of her and not value her as much. And that would kind of suck for her. She's not going to call you. Even if she likes you, she won't do it. Even if she feels strongly attracted, she will not contact you because it's not her nature to do so. It's a mental construct, not an emotional one. She's deciding that, even though she may feel drawn to you, she will not call you back now. This is because of the way our brains are wired. We're more likely to chase something unattainable. That's pursuing and chasing two different things. If she calls you, she is doing so from a position of power. She is no longer up on a pedestal, but rather like a regular person. This is because you called her and are exchanging phone calls. You are equal in this exchange. Understand? Because she is a princess, she can demand things from you. This is why she won't call you. It takes away her power. If this is one-sided, with you doing all the calling, and she doesn't respond, there are three things you should consider. First, it is rude not to respond to someone's call. Second, by not responding, she is not emotionally invested in the relationship. Third, by not responding, she is not upholding any integrity. This should tell you something about your investment in her. You're putting a lot of effort into this with little return. The only thing you're getting out of it is having a good time. Not a very good return on investment. If she had to call you to get things going, it would make you feel like you won something, that you are the prize. This is why she does it. So don't let her ego boost get to your head. Remember that she's just using you for her ends. Let's move on to number 2. It could be your fault that she's not initiating phone conversations and texts. Guys often create the narrative because they want to be in control. They called her and asked her out. She was okay with it, and she was on board with going out. However, the problem is that she won't initiate contact with the other girl you've been talking to. You've been calling her every week or every other week, but it's always you putting in the work to make things happen. She starts to get used to this routine, and it becomes boring. She also begins to misread the situation and thinks that you like to be in control and make things happen better than she can. This might not be the case, but when you do this, it starts to backfire because she gets tired of always being on the phone with you, and her calls get shorter and shorter until she eventually stops answering them altogether. This woman has become bored because she has the same routine. There is nothing new to do, and she's tired of going out and eating with him. You understand, so don't do it. You know that if you're too nice, they won't appreciate it. I want a nice, courteous, caring guy, but I know that I'll only be with him for a week or two before he gets what he needs and moves on. If I want ice cream, I'll get it and enjoy it. There's no need to save anything for later. You have to change this routine. Stop calling. Yes, stop calling her. Don't be mad that she's not returning your calls. Be mad at yourself for not being assertive enough. Number 1, you agreed to the terms you agreed to. That's on you. And number 2, you allowed that to happen. You created the narrative for her. You created that world for her where you would have to call her. Period. But now you're pulling back, so stop all the phone calls and initiating contact. This is where you start to test things. See what happens if you don't reach out to her. Get busy doing something else. Go out with somebody else and see what happens. You're giving out energy but not getting anything back in return. You're spending money on her but not getting the value or insight from anybody else. You're not receiving energy in the right way. Okay, now women tend to act this way because guys supplicate themselves a lot. So let's use the guy just taking them out as an example. Because if you don't call her, she'll start wondering why you didn't. She'll think you didn't call because you're not interested in her. But don't worry, you can still talk to her and get answers. If she calls you, answer her. But don't call her back if she texts you. Except if you always text her. Even if she texts, give it a few hours before you reply. If she calls you, respond in the same way. Be available, but don't be too general. If it takes her 3 weeks to get back to you, make sure you have already set up a date for the following week. If she calls you on Thursday and you're busy, tell her you're busy that day but have other dates available. If she suggests a date too soon, tell her you'll get back to her. If it's been 2 weeks since she last called you, suggest a date that's 2 weeks from then, and so on. Remember this, don't call or text her back immediately. Let her wait a bit just as she made you wait. People are currently engaging in discussion and analysis on this channel, with new subscribers coming in. For those of you who have been with me from the beginning, I appreciate you. See you next time.